and then they become stories and they become newsworthy and all the likes. And we can't shy away from any of that because, of course, we have a responsibility to bring those. One of our pillars, of four of which we have motivation, entertainment, spirituality, and one of the important ones as well being current affairs. Let's kick it off like this. Police officials have announced the successful arrest of a suspect in connection with a cell phone store robbery. Police spokesperson Colonel Tembega Mbele confirmed that an operation consisting of teams of multiple departments carried out the operation in KZN. In a statement released to confirm the arrest, Mbele revealed that the suspect had been apprehended just moments after the robbery occurred. Utugela Tactical Response Team, together with the Public Order Policing Unit, arrested a 49-year-old robbery suspect moments after the robbery took place. Police spokesperson Colonel Tembega said the incident in question had taken place on Wednesday afternoon during a traditionally busy time. Yesterday afternoon, at 17:30, a cell phone store in Escort CBD was robbed by three armed men who forced their way into the premises when the employees were locking up. Now, furthermore, Mbele confirmed that a staggering 250,000 rands worth of stock had been stolen during the armed robbery. They held up the staff at gunpoint, taking cell phones to a value of 250,000 rand before fleeing the scene. The incident was reported to the Escort police. The team received information on the whereabouts of the suspects and proceeded to Roosboom, an area in Ladysmith where the suspects were laying. After confronting the suspect following the tip-off, authorities managed to secure one of the three suspects. The suspect spotted the police approaching, and two of the three suspects fled on foot, whilst the third was arrested on the scene. A 9mm pistol and a gas gun was recovered on the scene, with one round of ammunition, along with 64 stolen cell phones. In conclusion, Mbele confirmed that the suspect will be appearing in court to face a litany of charges. The suspect will be appearing in Ladysmith Magistrates Court on the 31st of December, which is today, for charges of robbery, possession of suspected stolen property, and unlawful possession of firearms and ammunition. The mighty extent of the law coming down on the last day of the year. Issue. You may have heard that Cabinet have lifted the ban or the curfew that we were under. However, how does this curfew or ending the curfew fare up to science? The hospitality sector has been calling on government to end the curfew in time for the New Year's Eve celebrations. We're currently on adjusted level 1. The curfew is from midnight until 4 a.m. The Democratic Alliance is backing calls for the curfew to be lifted once and for all. The hashtag no curfew on New Year's Eve has been trending trending topic on Twitter for several days, as hundreds of people call for President Ramaphosa to end the curfew before January 1st. Currently, South Africa is on an adjusted level 1 with curfew set in place from midnight till 4 a.m. DA leader John Steenhuisen said, ending the curfew is an easy and logical way to boost the economy, particularly the restaurant and events industry, which are major employers and have taken huge strains in the immense sacrifices during the pandemic. There is a push by business owners and those by hospitality sector to have the current curfew lifted in time for New Year's Eve celebrations, but also to allow businesses which operate in the late night and early morning to return to normal operations again. South Africa has been in lockdown for 21 months, with those businesses not being allowed to trade since March 2020. Those behind the petition say there's no clear reason why it cannot be done, and it will give the country a much-needed morale boost. But does science and epidemiology say about the dropping of the curfew? Is there an argument to be had for it to be scrapped? Will it result in a spike in COVID-19 cases? One of the things that the curfew did early on, reduced the number of trauma casualties in hospitals. That was the best case scenario for having it. Now, Dr. Jody Boffa, community-based researcher and epidemiologist, says if you made that decision now, the message could be that the general public, if it wasn't handled carefully, that we're home free when it comes to COVID. Interesting debate, but let's see what actually will take place. One of our sons is back. South African comedian Trevor Noah is back in Mzansi, and he brought his on and off girlfriend, Minka Kelly, with him. The Daily Show host and Friday late night stars started dating in mid 2020, but broke up earlier this year. Things are going well between them. They are taking things slowly, a source said. They really like each other, but needed to take a step back to slow things down. By the look of things, the power couple are most definitely back on again, with Noah, who's 37, bringing Kelly, who's 41, home for the holidays. Noah took to Instagram on Wednesday to post his very first picture of him and Kelly celebrating chief executive or chief creative officer at Joe Public United, Kolisa Jeshana's birthday. Trevor Noah said, Kolisa Jeshana, may your laugh always be loud, maybe your stories always be long, and may your friends always be good looking. Love it. Love it. Welcome back home, brother. South African wicketkeeper batter Quinton de Kock has announced his retirement from Test cricket with immediate effect. De Kock has been set to miss the second and third tests against India on paternity leave, but has now decided to step away from the longest format entirely. The star left-hander remains available to play white ball cricket for South Africa. De Kock began 2021 as South Africa's stand-in test skipper and now ends it by calling time on his career in the format. 29-year-old led the Proteas in 4 tests against Sri Lanka and Pakistan with a 50% win record. South Africa beat Sri Lanka 2-0 at home under de Kock's leadership, but lost in Pakistan by the same margin. De Kock voiced his concerns about restrictions of the bubble life in the pandemic and the effect of the conditions of the players' mental health. He was rested from South Africa's ODI in Sri Lanka against the Netherlands. This is not a decision that I have come to very easily. I've taken a lot of time to think about what my future looks like and what needs to be the priority in my life now that Sasha and I are about to welcome our first child into the world and look to grow our family beyond that. He says, I love Test cricket and I love representing my country and all that it comes with. I've enjoyed the ups and downs, the celebrations, and even the disappointments, but now I've found something I love even more. In life, you can buy almost everything except for time, and right now, it's time to do the right thing. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has been part of my Test cricket journey from the beginning, to my coaches, teammates, various management teams, and my family and friends. I couldn't have shown up as I did without your support. All right, Quinton de Kock. Peace out, brother. Imilonjigantu choir society is to sing for the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The late Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu planned many aspects of his funeral. Among them, the music he wanted to be played. One of the choirs he chose is the Imilonjigantu Choral Society. And they will definitely be in attendance singing. And if you know anything about that choir, you know the power behind those voices. You know the power behind, the way that they arrange their music. And, given the gravity of the event at which they will be performing in order to say farewell to the late Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, they will step up and do what they do best. Finally, and further afield in this continent of Africa, Sudanese security forces on Thursday raided Saudi-owned Al Arabiya Television and its Al Hadat Studios news channel in Khartoum and confiscated their equipment. CCTV footage of the raid shows the security personnel attacking employees. The Dubai-based satellite station announced that several of its journalists were injured in the attack. The raid came moments after Sudanese forces fired tear gas and live ammunition at protesters rallying against the October 25 military coup in the country's capital and elsewhere. A demonstrator told the Associated Press that she was marching for the fall of military power and above all against a political agreement. A text which recently allowed a civilian Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok to leave the house arrest, but also General Burhani to remain at the head of the transitional authority for 2 more years. According to a pro-democracy doctors union, 4 protesters were shot dead in Omdurman, a northwestern suburb of Khartoum, during the protest. And the doctors added that the crackdown has now seen at least 52 people killed in the protest-related violence. Arshak, another Saudi-funded channel, reported that one of its crews was prevented from covering the protest by security forces. Authorities had earlier cut mobile internet and telephone calls, but restored them in the evening after the demonstrators had dispersed. To prevent as much as possible the gathering, the police on Wednesday evening installed containers across the bridges linking Khartoum to its suburbs. The UN mission in Sudan and the US Embassy condemned the deaths of the protesters and the attacks on the media. On the 19th of December, security forces were accused by the United Nations of raping female protesters in an attempt to break up the protest. In an appeal relayed by Facebook pages maintained by Sudanese living abroad, the doctors claimed that the law enforcement agencies prevented ambulances from approaching. The victims even forced a protester with a gunshot wound to the neck and on life support to get out of one of the vehicles. The coup plotters used live ammunition against the demonstrators, they said, reporting dozens of injuries. The doctors called in reinforcements from the Arbain hospital in Durman because of the capacity that they needed assistance with. All of that said, it doesn't sound like that is going to get better anytime soon unless cooler heads prevail and that the Sudanese forces really look at what the people need rather than what the military action is needed to kind of one-up one another as they are doing at the moment.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's see what all the fuck is about.